We'll be putting the finishing touches on our new kitchen for our lucky homeowners. We're going to take this 1990s earth tone room and turn it into soft contemporary style. So don't go away. It's all coming up today on For Your Home. Carl and Lorraine moved to this 1999 house when they moved here from Asheville, North Carolina. Now, they always planned to retire in Florida once their son Brian finished college and moved to the big city. But now they've decided they're just going to stay put. But they need to do some updating. So, FYH to the rescue. I sat down with Lorraine and we talked about what it was she didn't like about her kitchen.
The kitchen needs some help. We are looking at a kitchen that's older, that's outdated somewhat, and it's cramped. It's cramped. The workspace, there's not enough workspace. The refrigerator is real close to the center island, so you can't move around much. And the eating space on the counter where the stools are is in the middle of that is a sink. So that's not real conducive to putting food out and eating as well. We had a cooktop that exploded, so now it's just glass pieces. That makes it interesting. And Molson, when he was a puppy, he decided that the bottoms of the cabinets would be really good to chew on. So the cabinets are a little chewed up because of Molson when he was a puppy. One section of the kitchen on the far wall is really not very usable. It's there. We try to make it look nice, but it's wasted space. We can't wait to finally get the kitchen that we've been dreaming of.
I pulled together our FYH team and we all got busy making way for the new kitchen. Old cabinets were removed, walls came down, and changes were made to accommodate a more modern layout and design. Well, what do you think of Carl and Lorraine's new kitchen? I think it's turning out fantastic. Now we still have some finishing touches to do, but let me bring you up to date with what we've done so far to this 1990s kitchen. First thing we did is we opened up the space. There used to be a doorway coming from the back hall into the kitchen, regular door. We tore out these walls and now we have an open floor plan. That's what everybody wants in today's modern homes. To help open up the space, we also raised the entryway into the formal dining room and into the great room at this end of the kitchen as well as at the other end of the kitchen. That really gives us a great airy space. I love it. Now, some other things we did is we moved around our work areas. We rearranged our appliances. Used to be a sink right here in the peninsula. That was really tacky when you were trying to entertain. Now, by us moving that sink from there over to here, it gives us a great center for parties. Originally in this area where the sink is now was the cooktop. So we moved the cooking center to this end of the kitchen. Lorraine never used this side of the kitchen. It was just sort of for display. So by putting our new range here, we have a great work area. To help with the workspace in the kitchen zone, we added a prep sink to the island. Now, 2 people can work in this kitchen at the same time without getting in each other's way. One of the other things that Lorraine didn't like about her kitchen was how tight and restricted it was between the refrigerator that used to sit here and the island. By taking advantage of a closet that backed up to the kitchen in the laundry room, we were able to break through, push this refrigerator back into that closet space. Now she has a full-size refrigerator and a nice wide opened up space. That's the real key when you're designing and trying to create a kitchen, is to really try to open it up as much as you possibly can. A pretty kitchen is more than just some great looking cabinetry. My guest today is Stephanie Pierce and she's the studio design manager at Master Brands. Hey Stephanie, how are you?
I'm great.
You know, when it comes to designing kitchens, you have designed more kitchens than I can ever dream of. How can a homeowner get off to the perfect start when they're thinking about a new kitchen?
Well, you know, some of the things that they need to consider is how they're going to be using their space. You know, what are you going to be doing in your kitchens and what kind of functionality do you want to get out of your new kitchen? And taking those items and considering them and bringing them to to the designer is really going to help them create your dream kitchen.
And especially when you're moving things around. I know, most people think about kitchens as like, oh, I hate my kitchen, I just want a new kitchen, and they don't give that thought into how's it going to function for me.
Right.
And that seems to be really important.
Yeah, absolutely. There's zones in the kitchen. There's entertaining zones, and there's wet zones and cooking zones and your refrigeration zones. There's all kinds of areas that you need to consider. What are you going to be doing in that space, and what do you want to get out of those cabinets? There's so much more additional functionality to cabinets these days, and things that you can do inside the cabinets to even enhance those areas.
So that's really right along the lines of organization then, right? So you need to be organized in your new kitchen. How can you think about that? How can you incorporate that?
One thing is, what do I have in my kitchen today? What am I planning on adding to my kitchen when I remodel it? Do you have a lot of utensils and accessories? Do you have a lot of appliances? Do you have a lot of bulk storage? Do you keep those things in your kitchen, and where do you keep them? And that really helps you figure out what kind of cabinets you need and what those cabinets are going to be used for once you get that kitchen going.
I know, because a lot of times you get things in your kitchen that you never had before, like for example, a prep sink now in the island. Before there wasn't one there.
Right.
And so now if you're really going to be prepping, then you need to have a place to put your knives that's close to that, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And this kitchen has a couple of features like that. There's a tiered cutlery drawer, which enhances the amount of storage that you get inside of a drawer, and it also helps organize it so that you can find what you're looking for as soon as you need it. The other thing it has is it has a cab mat in the sink area, and it helps in case there's ever a leak or a spill or something in that zone.
So that's a rubber mat.
It is a rubber mat, and it goes in the bottom of the sink, and should you ever, heaven forbid, have a leak, then it holds about a gallon of water.
Wow, that's
so
a
it
lot.
helps with stability and peace of mind for the homeowner, so that you don't worry about damaging your cabinets in areas like that. Also, next to the prep sink, there's a pull-out trash can, so that you've got something easy to utilize right there where you're using cutting and prepping.
That we built in as much as we could to help keep, this space functioning perfectly for them. And I think it's important to think about what can go in those cabinets like you're talking about, and then kind of try to live with that design a little while maybe.
Absolutely.
Before you do it.
And growing with it. If you've got a busy lifestyle, another thing that we have in this kitchen is we have a wall message center. And that's a really great piece. It's a small cabinet, but if you're walking in, you've got a drop zone right inside your cabinet.
It doesn't all end up on the end of your
cabinet. It doesn't
cabinet.
end up on these beautiful countertops. It's always a place for something to be stored.
Well, I think that's the message center, I just love that, and it's a great way to stay organized. And we've decorated and accessorized this kitchen, and I think that she's going to be pretty happy in here, don't you think so?
I think so. It's a beautiful kitchen.
Now, your cabinets may be the backbone of your kitchen, but as an interior designer, I know there's a lot of other elements that you need to take into consideration when you're planning a project this large. First of all, you want to make sure that you get all of your elements together. What do I mean by that? You want to know what your floor is going to be and what color it's going to be. You want to know what your backsplash is going to be, your countertops, the color of your cabinetry. All of those are going to determine what colors you select on every single item. Never go out and order your cabinets in the color you want them before you start to pull together the other elements, because they may not match together. I like to take those basic elements and start adding them together. Take a look at what I've got here on the counter. This is a good way to get started with making a plan for your kitchen. Let's start with some of the things that are the hardest to narrow down and the less variety we have to choose from, and that's going to be your countertops. Countertops, there's a great variety of color out there, but if you're working with natural stone, you're going to be limited to just what there's available to you. If you're going to work with some of the new quartz materials, there's a good variety of colors to choose from in that as well, but they also are an area that you're not going to have a lot of flexibility between that color of white and another color of white. So choose your countertop, and then from your countertop, match it to your cabinets. Look how many different shades of white I have with just these 3 little samples here. I want to be sure I get the right color of creamy white that will go with that countertop that I selected. Now, this is a piece of granite that we're looking at here, which would make a nice countertop as well. And if you look at these samples as I lay them down on it, all of a sudden, do you see, we don't have a match here. The best match out of all of these would be that one. This is too bright white, and this is way too yellow. If I would have ordered my kitchen cabinets before I picked out my granite, I wouldn't have been happy with my choice. Now, another thing to keep in consideration is the floor that you're going to be using in your kitchen. For us, that was pretty simple. we kept the same floor we already had. So if there's an element in your kitchen that you're going to stick with, that's going to have to be your overriding element for everything else you choose. So we had a piece of tile that Lorraine had left over. This became my best friend. This little piece of tile here, carried it around with me as I matched up cabinets, paint colors, everything that we used into this kitchen. So when you get ready to plan your kitchen, give yourself the time to choose all of those elements together. Think about your floor, think about your countertop, think about the backsplash, and think about then the color that you want your cabinets to be. If you take the time to make those decisions, you're going to be very, very happy with your kitchen when it's all done, and it'll have that designer touch. Lorraine, I think every kitchen needs a little bit of your own creativity. So I have designed a craft project for us to do together today.
Well, that will be great. I don't know how crafty I am, but I'm willing to give it
Well,
a try.
I think this project will be right up your alley because it's not that hard.
All
okay?
right, good.
All right, well, this is what we're going to make today. And it's just a great little bulletin board to use in your kitchen. This is a silver tray, picked it up at an antique shop. And then we've used chalkboard paint to paint the inside of it. And then you can just write on it with a regular piece of chalk. Like, for example, cocktails at 6:30, one that you and I would enjoy.
That's right, absolutely.
Or you could put the menu for your meal that evening you're having, or, you know, welcome the Joneses to my kitchen. And then when you want to change it, you just wipe it off with a wet cloth.
Fun.
Not a wet paper towel, because that'll leave little pieces of paper behind, but just a wet cloth.
Fun, okay.
So, while I was at my antique shop, I picked up this little tray. It cost us $12, so that's a pretty inexpensive project. First thing we're going to do is we're going to tape around the outside with some painter's tape. All right? And it's going to be easier if you take it like in small sections as opposed to trying to tape all the way around. Yeah. Just
Start here?
Yep, just start out there where you can see it. And you just want the tape to come right down to the edge.
The bottom.
Yep, and then
How's
just kind of seal
How's
it down with
that?
your finger. Look how crafty
Okay.
you are.
I'm
You're so
really not,
crafty.
but okay.
All right, there you go. Okay, so we're just going to go all the way around this and tape it off. And this is kind of different. You know, it's a different color of tape
Yeah,
than
it's
you're
usually
used to seeing.
blue, right?
Right. Well, this tape, we'll try it out because it's supposed to not let paint run underneath it. Some kind of chemical, something.
Oh, wow.
And it'll keep it from
perfect
being
for what we need.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll just continue taping right on around here.
Look at that.
You are so crafty.
Wow, who knew?
Yeah. Okay, while you're working on that, I want to share another little idea with you.
All right.
Okay, you have spices to go into your new kitchen.
I do,
okay?
yeah.
All right, so using that same paint, you can buy these little bottles like this at your container type stores, you know, the storage stores. And so these were like $1.19 a piece. And if you're using your regular spices, they come in those metal containers and they're not very attractive. Well, you buy these, you paint the tops of them with the same paint we're using for the tray. And then with a piece of chalk, you can just write basil or rosemary or whatever's on the top. And if you want to use it for another spice, you can wipe it off.
Like
Put something
it.
else on. So that's
Great.
another real handy project. Okay? How you
So
coming there,
crafty.
girl?
I'm coming.
All right,
I'm going along here.
All right, now this is chalkboard paint, and it's a special kind of paint because it doesn't require any prep surface. And there's a lot of different brands on the market, and you just want to be sure if you're using one of these blackboard paints that it doesn't have to have a prep.
Okay.
This doesn't require prep, some do, meaning in other words, you might have to sand it a little bit or whatever.
All right, so
Okay,
be careful.
you
Which
all
one?
set
Wait,
there?
there's one little piece over there, Vicki, that I see. There's a space.
Oh, you see, she's just so, you know what I'm telling you. All right.
Crafty.
Okay. All right, now, there you
All
go. And just paint it. Doesn't matter how you do. Just gonna get more paint there. A nice, thick, heavy coat. All right. I'll just reach over you and grab another brush and give you a hand here.
All right, great.
So we're just gonna put this on here.
This is probably too thin, right?
We'll put more than one coat. If it shows through, just add more coats to it, okay? All right, and then once you have all the coats on it that you want, let it dry good, like overnight, before you write on it. And then the next day, it'll be ready for you to use and to display in your kitchen.
And so when you come over, you can say cocktails at 6:30.
You got it.
Perfect.
Now you're thinking, now
Perfect.
you're thinking. Easy craft project that even Lorraine can do.
Absolutely.
Lighting, just like everything else, has to function and add to the overall look of the project. Lighting a kitchen is an art. I recently spent time with Jeff Dross, one of today's top lighting designers. Take a look. Jeff and I have been friends for a long time, but this is the first project we got to do together. It was a lot of fun.
It sure was. It sure was.
You know, I think a lot of our viewers at home are confused when it comes to kitchen lighting. There are a lot of new options out there. It's not the same old standard thing that there was 10, 15 years ago. Let's walk through some of the things that they can consider.
Well, this is actually a great space to talk about that because it's really quite a beautiful kitchen, but unfortunately pretty poorly lit.
Okay.
Here's a great example. Glass front cabinets are actually quite popular now. We did those in Lorraine's kitchen, but you can see what happens with no lighting inside. It becomes just a series of black boxes.
Right.
And
right.
really a lot of
you
interest.
can't see what they have or anything.
Kind of ominous looking. So by adding light, you add a lot of interest to that particular space.
Okay. Well, that's a good thing to keep in mind.
Sure, absolutely. Under cabinets, we always have cabinets on the wall. They're part of every kitchen. But unfortunately, what a cabinet does is it creates shadows on the countertop.
And that's right where you want to be doing your
This
work.
is where you're doing work,
Exactly.
absolutely. So good under cabinet lighting is really, really key to effective kitchen lighting. If you have an area above the cabinets, you want to light that as well. If there's a soffit, there's no need to worry about it. But if there's an area above, absolutely light that space.
Okay, so our lighting above the cabinets, what does that do for us in a kitchen?
Well, actually, it works wonderfully if you actually have a small kitchen because it gives you the impression of a much larger space. You add that extra 1 foot.
Kind of widens it up,
Yeah, it widens it, deepens the room, and it creates a little bit more interest than just a black shadow above the
Okay, I
cabinet.
thought the lighting always just showed off the dust on my things that I've got stored up there, but there's a
Most
purpose
people
to
aren't
it.
looking for the
there's
dust.
a purpose for that. Okay, how about cans in the ceiling? That's a real popular feature in new homes today.
Yeah, absolutely it is. And unfortunately, most people don't use them very well. I like to follow the rules provided by a gentleman named Michael DeLuca. And one of the key things that he has defined is to have the beam spread of the light go past the face of the cabinet. You don't
But
want
not
it-
hit the face.
Not hit the face of the
Okay.
cabinets. That way the beam spread comes onto the counter. The under cabinet lights comes onto the counter here,
So
giving
you have a seamless lit area.
absolutely gives you plenty of lighting and on the countertop.
Good thing to know. Now, how about a 10-foot ceiling, 8-foot
Oh,
ceilings?
absolutely.
Difference
Well,
in
that's
cans?
that's wonderful because it's interesting to note that if you have a 10-foot ceiling, you need twice as much light as an 8-foot ceiling.
Wow, that's really good to know. Okay, you do something that I haven't seen people do before, and that is you light underneath this counter edge.
Absolutely. And I started doing that about a year and a half ago, and I've shared it with a number of other designers, and it's become quite popular. The reason is because we've got such beautiful cabinetry in the kitchen that light has a nice way of grazing the face. But here's the fun part. When you open up that top counter, that top drawer, the light adds light to the inside of that drawer. And
So
you
I can finally see the stuff in my junk drawer.
Absolutely, and they encourage you to clean it out too.
I doubt it, I doubt it. So that's a great tool. Now, how about the island? Because everybody loves islands in their kitchens. What can we do to jazz up the lighting there?
Well, the island has similar problems as we shared over here. And actually, in Lorraine's, the island has a bar on one side. So we added light underneath the bar area and took that very dark space and lightened it up. In this particular kitchen, we could add light underneath here, light that whole area up, and this becomes less of an ominous floating island in the middle of the room and gets a little bit more ethereal.
Yeah, I like that idea. Okay, decorative lighting.
Sure.
Because, you know, a lot of people are doing pendants over the island. Some things to think about there.
Absolutely. Well, I like to have some sort of a cohesion between the space in the kitchen. So, for example, if you're going to put something over this island and there's no wall between the next room, either the dining room or perhaps the great room, try to get some sort of aesthetic connection between the two.
Okay, kind of coordinate them together.
Coordinate them. Even sconces that might be on the wall nearby, you might want to have them look.
Tie back into everything.
Absolutely, somewhat similar.
Well, Jeff, you know, there's so many things to consider about lighting, and I think you did a great job at Lorraine's, and it just turned out beautiful. We're going to have to work together more often.
I think we should.
These are the decorative fixtures that we selected for this project. Replacing a ceiling fan with decorative lighting and can lighting really added to this kitchen. Now your head must be swimming by now with all the things I keep telling you you need to remember when you're planning a new kitchen. Well, I'm sorry, but I've got one more, and it's probably the most important, and that's the function. A kitchen has to be beautiful, but it has to function. That's where we came in with our sinks, our faucets, and our appliance selection. Let me show you what we used. Right over here is our new sink, and it's a big stainless steel sink. It's only one bay, so you can put in pots and pans and really do a good job cleanup, and look how nice and deep this is. Now, we pair that up with a beautiful brushed nickel faucet that has a pull-out sprayer. This is really handy to clean a big sink like that, and it has a nice style and clean design for us, and that's what we were after. To keep this in our cleanup area, so to speak, mode, this is where we located our dishwasher. Now the dishwasher is very clean line, as you can see, stainless steel. The great thing about this dishwasher is that it uses less water, and it's the quietest dishwasher you can have. And you know why that's important? Carl and Lorraine both work from home, so they can't have a big noisy dishwasher going. This was a good choice for us. Right here in the middle of our island, we added a prep sink. Nice, wide open. I got it as deep as I possibly could. We added another great faucet over here, and this one has a swivel head on it so we can clean up this area. We also installed two garbage disposals in this kitchen, one in the prep sink and one over at our big sink. That way, when two people are working, two people can clean up. Now, one of the things that we had to do in order to open up this kitchen is we had to get rid of the big bay of ovens and microwaves that we had at this end of the kitchen. What did we replace it with? With this. They're all built into one location. This is our dual fuel range. We have 4 great gas burners up here at the top, and then in here, big wide oven. This will accommodate that Thanksgiving turkey or everyday meals. Now, below it, this is so cool. There is a warming drawer in the bottom of this range. So you cook something, you take it out, you pop it in the warming drawer, it's all in one area. We also added a convenient microwave at the other end of the island. That's a convenient place for it because if you are partying or entertaining, heating something up, take it right out of the microwave and put it on that beautiful peninsula. Our next appliance selection was our refrigerator. Because we broke into the cabinet that was behind the wall here, we were able to get a full-size refrigerator and recess it back into the wall. Now we have a great big nice open space, and Lorraine has a big refrigerator. It also has cold water and ice dispensing in the door, which is an energy saver. All of these appliances, it's a whole suite of appliances. They're German engineered, but they're made in America. In fact, I'm very proud to say they're made right here in North Carolina. So when you're thinking about the appliances that you want for your kitchen, think about appliances that are going to save energy. That's so important. And think about how they're going to function for you. You know, this kitchen is going to be used for a lot of entertaining, so we didn't want to overlook one last little detail, and that was a wine cooler. We put that right in the peninsula so it's easy to serve guests. Again, it's got to function. The real test of any FYH project is always, did we make the homeowner happy? Well, Lorraine, are you happy with your kitchen?
Vicki, I'm thrilled. This is a great kitchen now. It's very functional. It's very open. The sink was here. This was not functional because of the sink, and you couldn't really do anything around it. We made it much bigger with the rounded edges, and then look at these beautiful details of the corners. Isn't that great?
It's a beautiful peninsula now. I like it.
I love it. It's great. We can entertain.
And now we put your sink over here.
The sink's here.
Dishwasher, easy cleanup.
Absolutely. Yep. And then we have a workstation over here where you can work on this island. You've got the oven over here. So everything is very close by, but yet we've got the room. It's great. The refrigerator that's over here that used to be out in the middle is no longer out in the middle.
Well, you got a smaller linen closet out of it, but I think the trade-off was well worth it, don't you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well,
yes.
I love the things that we did to incorporate the same flooring. We didn't replace that, so that saved us a couple of $1,000s.
Sure.
By staying with that. I love the fact that we went with a nice light color because we went from that wood tone color that you had before, all right? And the countertops now, going with the dark countertops, they're not as busy. Your last countertops really had a lot going on them. Now you can really accessorize in any color that you want in here, and it flows together. I think that one of the really nice features about this is that this inspired you not to just only stop with the kitchen, right?
That's right.
Tell us what else you did.
Well, you know, one project leads to another, Vicki. As you know, we ended up taking our window treatments off here, and we put shutters, plantation shutters, which I think look great.
They do. They're very contemporary, very clean lines. I like that.
We updated the doors on the laundry room so that they match the kitchen. I put new window treatments in there, and it goes on and on and on.
And you took the carpet runner off your stairs.
We did that
You changed the balustrades on your steps.
That's right.
You know, that's one of the things you need to be prepared for is once you start a project, boy, it can just mushroom into this project and the next project and the next project.
Absolutely.
You know?
We finally said, okay, that's enough for now.
Yeah, well, I think you did some nice choices, and I think the money you invested in doing those add-ons is really going to make you enjoy this space even more because they're adjacent to it.
Absolutely.
Well, you know, we still have some details to do. That's the way it always is in a project. We're waiting for a trim kit for our microwave oven. We have a little bit of lighting to tweak still and some switch plate covers, those little final details that you always have to do with a job. But I'm happy with it if you're happy.
Oh,
Yes, it is. A totally new
Love it.
kitchen, except for the floor.
yes, that's right.
Now, if you absolutely love your house and you love your neighborhood, but you hate your kitchen, always remember that it's always cheaper to renovate than to relocate. Make those changes, fall in love with your home again. See you next time right here on For Your Home. Do you want to know more about the projects today or our guests? Visit us on the web. You're going to find great behind-the-scenes shots, streaming video, project ideas. We even have an e-newsletter with tips and ideas. It's foryourhome.com.